A brave soldier made one last call before leaving for the battlefield, and what he said left his family in tears. No one expected this emotional goodbye, filled with love, regret, and a secret he carried for years. This true emotional story of a soldier's last call will touch your heart, bring tears to your eyes, and remind everyone of the sacrifices our heroes make. Watch until the end to feel the full impact. Staff Sergeant David Harris had always been a hero in silence. His medals and commendations decorated the walls, but his heart carried battles that no one could see. Tonight, he sat alone in his small apartment, the hum of the ceiling fan filling the empty spaces. Outside, the city was alive, unaware that one of its bravest souls was about to make a call that would leave everyone in tears. His hand trembled slightly as he dialed. This was no ordinary phone call. This was his last call before deployment, and he had a secret he had kept buried for years. The line connected, and the voice of his mother on the other end brought a surge of warmth and pain all at once. "Mom," he said, his voice cracking. She didn't respond immediately, sensing the weight behind his tone. "David, is everything okay?" she finally asked, worry threading through every word. He swallowed hard, trying to keep his emotions in check. "I just wanted to hear your voice, one last time before I go." His words were simple, but the gravity behind them hit like a thunderbolt. Tears welled up in his mother's eyes as she realized this wasn't just another call, it was a goodbye of sorts, a prelude to battles she could not protect him from. For the next few minutes, David spoke of memories no one else knew, of regrets, of promises he had made and kept in silence. His words painted a vivid picture of courage and vulnerability that few had ever witnessed. He spoke of the fear he felt leaving his young daughter behind, the child who didn't fully understand why Daddy had to go. He spoke of the weight of the uniform, of the sacrifices he had made and would continue to make. By the end of the call, his mother was sobbing, clutching the phone as if she could somehow hold him close through the line. And David. He forced a smile, hiding the tremor in his hands and the ache in his chest. "I love you, Mom," he whispered. "Always remember that. I'll come back to you." As he hung up, the apartment felt emptier than ever. Outside, life continued, unaware of the quiet hero about to step into a storm that would test every fiber of his being. And deep inside, David carried a secret hope, a hope that this final call, this emotional farewell, would somehow keep his family safe, even when he could not be there himself. Little did anyone know, this true emotional story of a soldier was only just beginning. The moments to follow would shock, break hearts, and leave everyone questioning how far a hero's love can reach. The morning sun had barely risen when Staff Sergeant David Harris stepped onto the base, but inside, he felt as if a storm had already taken over his heart. The echoes of his last call haunted him, the trembling voice of his mother, the sobs of his daughter, the raw words he had whispered into the phone. Each step he took was heavy with the weight of love and fear, and yet he could not let it show. David wandered to a quiet corner of the base, clutching the small photo of his daughter. Her tiny braids framed a face full of innocence and trust, a trust that now felt like the heaviest responsibility in the world. "I'll come back to you," he whispered, voice breaking. "I promise." But even as he said it, tears burned his eyes. How could he protect them from what he was about to face? How could he leave and not know if he would see their faces again? Every laugh, every hug, every bedtime story he had missed swelled inside him like a tide of guilt and love. His uniform felt heavier than ever, burdened not just with medals and duty, but with the fragile hearts waiting for him at home. The world around him moved on, soldiers drilled, engines roared, commands shouted, but David felt frozen, caught between two worlds, the battlefield that demanded him, and the home that needed him. He thought of his mother, alone in her living room, gripping the phone as if it could pull him back. He thought of his daughter, dreaming sweet dreams while he faced the unknown. Every memory, every smile, every whispered "I love you" became a beacon of both pain and strength. David clenched his fists, a shudder running through him. This was no ordinary day. This was the day his love for his family would become the armor he could not see but could feel in every heartbeat. Then the call came over the radio, urgent, impossible to ignore. A unit was in danger, lives hanging by a thread, and David's heart twisted at the thought of leaving his family again, even for a moment. But he could not turn away. With trembling hands, he tucked his daughter's photo close to his heart, whispered, "I'll come back. I promise," and ran toward the waiting convoy. Each step was agony and courage, sorrow and duty intertwined, his mind a battlefield of love, fear, and hope. Little did anyone know, the depth of his heart, the raw emotion from that last call, was what would fuel the bravery that lay ahead. Every tear, every whispered word, every aching promise had prepared him for the storm he was about to face. This true emotional story of a soldier was no longer just about duty, it was about the invisible bond of love that could carry him through fear, heartbreak, and the impossible. The convoy roared through the dusty terrain, the sun beating down relentlessly, but David's mind was somewhere else, back with his daughter, back with his mother, back in the living room where his last call still echoed. Every bump in the road reminded him of what he had left behind, every shout over the radio a reminder of what he might never return to. As they neared the danger zone, the radio crackled with urgent voices. A nearby unit was pinned down, outnumbered, struggling to survive. David's heart pounded, not just from adrenaline, but from the raw fear of leaving his family without him. He gripped the steering wheel tighter, whispering again, "I love you, hold on for me. I'll come back." The first explosion shook the ground, sending dust into the air. Soldiers shouted, but David stayed focused, moving with precision that came from years of training, and the unbearable love that anchored him. Every decision mattered. Every second could mean life or death. He saw a young soldier stumble, fear painted across his face, and instinctively reached out, pulling him to safety. The boy's eyes widened, and for a brief moment, David saw a reflection of his own daughter, innocence and vulnerability that demanded protection. Bullets tore through the air, explosions rocked the earth, and yet David pressed forward. His mind was flooded with the voices from his last call, his mother's soft sobs, his daughter's laughter, the whispered promises he had made. Those words became armor, shielding him from panic, transforming fear into courage. Each life he saved, each maneuver he executed, was fueled by the unbreakable bond of love he carried for his family. Hours felt like minutes, and minutes like hours. Finally, the battle began to turn. David's unit managed to flank the enemy, saving the pinned soldiers. Exhausted, covered in dirt and sweat, he took a moment to breathe, heart racing, body trembling, but the photo of his daughter pressed to his chest reminded him why he fought. Tears ran down his face. Not from relief, but from the overwhelming weight of love and fear, and the knowledge that every moment away from home was a gift earned by sacrifice. When the chaos finally subsided, David sat alone on a hillside, watching the sun dip beneath the horizon. He felt a hollow ache, but also a strange, fierce pride. The battle had been won, lives had been saved, and yet the emotional toll of that last call, the fear, the love, the promises whispered in secret, lingered like a shadow. This true emotional story of a soldier was nearing its climax. The battlefield had tested his courage, but it had also revealed the depth of his heart, a heart capable of immense love, unyielding courage, and unimaginable sacrifice. And as night fell, David knew the hardest part was still ahead, returning home, facing the family he had fought for, and finally letting them see the tears he had held back for so long. Days later, Staff Sergeant David Harris finally stepped off the plane, uniform crisp but heart heavy with memories of the battlefield. Every soldier around him was exhausted, yet he felt something heavier, a mixture of relief, fear, and anticipation. The hardest mission was not the firefights or explosions he had survived, it was facing his family after everything he had endured, after the last call that had left them in tears. As he entered the small living room of his home, he saw his mother sitting on the couch, hands trembling, eyes red and swollen. She had stayed awake, waiting for this moment, clinging to the hope that her son would return safely. "Mom," he whispered, voice breaking, and she rose slowly, tears streaming freely. She ran to him, clinging as if she could absorb every ounce of fear he had carried. Then came the soft footsteps he had longed to hear, the pitter-patter of tiny feet. His daughter, now awake, peeked from behind the door, eyes wide with awe and caution. "Daddy," she whispered, voice quivering. David's knees buckled as he scooped her into his arms, holding her so tightly he could feel her heartbeat against his chest. Years of distance, fear, and longing melted into that single embrace. Tears ran down both their faces, silent yet overflowing with emotion. He knelt on the floor, holding them both, whispering words he had held back for far too long. "I love you. I promised I'd come back, and I did." His mother's hand stroked his face, his daughter's small arms wrapped around his neck, and for the first time in what felt like eternity, David felt whole. The memories of war, the secret fears, the agony of that last call, all of it was transformed into a profound moment of connection, love, and healing. That evening, as they sat together, the weight of everything he had endured began to lift. He told them stories of courage, of sacrifice, and of the invisible strength that had carried him through the darkest hours. And in their eyes, he saw gratitude, pride, and unconditional love, the reward far greater than any medal, any commendation, or any accolade could ever give. The true emotional story of a soldier had reached its final chapter, leaving a legacy of courage, love, and the reminder that even in the face of danger and fear, the bonds of family and the human heart remain unbroken. David's last call had been more than a farewell, it had been a bridge of love, a promise of return, and a testament to the power of hope. No one who heard this story could remain dry-eyed, because it was not just the story of one soldier. It was the story of every hero who fights for others while carrying an invisible world of love, fear, and devotion in their heart.